Now, in order to rotate a shape, you need three pieces of information. You need the angle of rotation, you need the direction they want you to rotate the shape in, and also the center of rotation. Now, you'll also need to state those three things if you've been asked to describe the rotation in order to get full marks on the exam. Now, if we take a look at this example, it asks us to describe the transformation from shape A to shape B. Now, we can see that this shape has been rotated, and we can also see that it's been rotated 90 degrees. Now, the direction we've moved in, well, shape A is up here, shape B is down here, so therefore we know it was a clockwise direction. Now, the center of rotation though, well, if we take a look at our two shapes and whereabouts they are in the axis, remember that center of rotation is a fixed point by which we rotate the shape around. Now, if we draw some lines coming from shape A and shape B, you can see that those two lines will cross at this point here. So therefore, our center of rotation is that point there, 1, 3. So in order to get full marks on the exam, we'd have to say that it's a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise about the point 1, 3. So now we've seen an example that asks us to describe a rotation. Let's go over to the workstation and actually do an example together where we're asked to perform a rotation on a given shape. In this example, we're going to have a look at how to perform a rotation given a certain set of instructions. So let's take a look at the example we have. You can see on this example here, they want us to rotate shape A 90 degrees clockwise about the point 1, 2. So they give us all the information we need to perform a rotation. Now all we need to do is to mark that center of rotation on and rotate our shape. So the center of rotation is the point 1, 2. So the first thing we're going to do is to mark on that center of rotation. Now, when it comes to doing a rotation, the best thing to use is the tracing paper that you will be supplied with in the exam, as it makes it much easier for you to perform the rotation and see where the shape ends up. So, take a piece of tracing paper. We're going to place it over the shape, and of course making sure we also place it over the center of rotation. And then we're just going to sketch out shape A. Don't have to use a ruler for this. You should be able to do a good enough sketch. It's just to get a sense of where the shape ends up. And then obviously we're going to do our final construction with a ruler. Here was our center of rotation, the point 1, 2. And now what we're going to do, a little trick that I find quite useful, is to just mark on, using the paper as a reference, a right angle, because that's going to show us how many lots of 90 degrees we've rotated our shape. So there's my shape A, here's my center of rotation. Now I'm only asked to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. So that's what I'm going to do. So keeping the pencil point on that center of rotation, and now taking our shape, you can see when we've rotated it 90 degrees clockwise because that right angle now has moved around 90 degrees. So we can see here where my shape would end up. Now you could press very hard on the shape outline that you've just drawn to make an indent on the paper to show you where the shape is. But there's another method, which if we go back to our original position, I'll show you that helps you get an actual drawing of it just by rotating it. So the first thing we're going to do is to turn our shape over and shade the back of it. Heavy enough shading that it will leave an imprint once we go over it on the other side. We can still see where it ends up with originally though. So we take it back to our original position. Pencil again on the center of rotation. Rotate our shape 90 degrees. Now once you have the shading on there, you can actually now go over the outline of your shape like so. Pressing with a reasonable amount of force because we want that shading on the back to come out when we take our tracing paper away. And when we take our tracing paper away, you can see there that we have just a faint outline, but remember that's all we need in order to now take our ruler and join up those lines we just traced round So we've rotated shape A 90 degrees clockwise about the point 1, 2.